Curry Van and Car.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Touchdown, Alabama! Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Join us every week for Alabama football right here.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Can you get me a little typeset?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Your tire's tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
No, Coach, you're not on anymore. You're done. You did your part. Now we're going to do our part. Welcome to Overreaction Monday here in the Doghouse. And now that we are officially in season, we probably should have let you know about this, but I didn't. Now that we are officially in season, we'll be featuring Nick Saban live, courtesy of McCurry Motors, at the top of the show, right off the top of the show, every Monday, okay? So we can react to what he has to say. And look, I don't want to make light of Middle Tennessee. I mean, especially since I was on their payroll for 5 years. I'm generally fond of Coach Rick Stockstill and the AD, Rick Massaro, there. And those guys treated me great. They treated my son great there as well, having him on full scholarship for 3 years while he was on the coaching staff. And as Saban has been saying, and as he said again there, those guys went to Miami last year as big underdogs and won that game outright. But this is not Miami. And, of course, the only real intrigue is surrounding the quarterback position. And he acknowledged that, and he gave you everything. You can try and read between the tea leaves all you want. He tried to diffuse it as best as possible. And he also, he talked about how much he hates depth charts. And, he doesn't talk in terms of depth charts, and depth charts are detrimental to the team and yada, yada, yada. They got a depth chart. They know there's a depth chart. They got a depth chart. Okay? And they know who's going to start, who's going to take the first snap. But the reality is, as he said, who takes the first snap doesn't necessarily mean that's it, the job is done for the year. It's just not the way it is. So we'll see who takes the first snap. We'll see who takes the first snap in the second half. We'll see who takes the first snap, of the Texas game. You're not going to know necessarily until you get a few games into the season as to really whose gig it is and who they have the most confidence in. And all we can do is continue to look back before that run. What was it? 6 or 7 year run of great quarterback play at Alabama. All you can do is go back and look at Blake Barnett. Blake Barnett took the first snap against, USC. Blake Barnett took the first snap against USC. He was out of the game two series later. And Jalen Hurts took over. And the rest is history. And by the way, Barnett actually, if you go back and you look at the stats from that game, Barnett actually ends up with a little bit better stats than Jalen Hurts. But he comes back in the game later on and basically mop-up duty. I mean, Hurts is the one that took the bull by the horns right then and there. And that was the end of it. Then it was Hurts, Tagovailoa, Young. Boom, boom, boom. And Mac Jones won a national championship in the middle of all of that. And had a great year. Maybe the greatest year of all of them in terms of statistically. Always with an asterisk because of the fact that it was that COVID year. He faced empty stadiums on the road. I know even empty stadiums at home creates a lot of pressure. I know everybody wants to just kind of blow that off, but he faced empty stadiums on the road. That's a little bit of a different animal. We got to salt that with that. Now, offensive lineman Tyler Booker was asked flat out by the guys on the next round if he knew who QB1 was. Quote, "We don't know. They don't know. It's really not up to us. It's up to them to earn the right to play. But as far as the offensive line and the rest of the team goes, our mindset is whoever it's going to be, we're going to be ready to support them because Coach Saban plays the cards really close. We'll all find out on Saturday. Everyone asks me questions like I know. I promise you, I don't know. We'll all find out on Saturday." You know what it reminds me of, hearing him say that? It's not up to us. It's really up to them to earn the right to play. You remember?
That's something that we preach a lot about, making sure that we keep the main thing.
Remember Bryce Young saying that? And I think Will Anderson said it as well. Keep the main thing the main thing. Saban will have some sort of a theme for every one of these deals and every season. And he pounds that into the kids to the point where finally they're basically parroting what he says. That's what they do. All right, your phone lines are open at 256-576-4977. You can also text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. Great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are also on the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. I think you can see it now. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody go to our Facebook page and see if we're still shadowboxed. I think you can go to it now because I didn't get any message when I went to it. I might be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't know why they did that to us, but they did. What can I tell you? You can watch the show at YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, WZZN TV. Then you'll get notifications. Go to 977ESPN.com. Get links to all of that. Get our app. You need the app. You will need, this Friday night, you will need Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4, and Zone 5 as well. All of our alternate streaming channels. We will have 5 games for you. 5 on Friday night, including the first ever game at the renovated Joe Davis Stadium. We'll have Grizz's beloved Grissom Tigers playing in that one. 5 games this week. Now, as for overreactions today, we can start with Notre Dame quarterback Sam Hartman. Hartman debuted as a 6th-year transfer quarterback for the Irish in Ireland against the outman Middies from the Naval Academy and went off for 4 TDs. Got all the sidewalk alumni in a tizzy. Look, it was Navy. Let's not give him the Heisman just yet. Notre Dame is not the team to beat for the Natty right now. Next week, they play Tennessee State. So we won't know much more there as well. Now, NC State game 3 is sporty a little bit. Then it's Central Michigan? Who is this? Before Notre Dame hosts Ohio State. That's when we'll really know something about the Irish. When they play Ohio State at home. When did the Irish begin playing all these cupcake games? Remember, it used to just be like Navy and Air Force. Those were their cupcake games. When they played the academies. And then Navy every once in a while would bite them. Air Force every once in a while. Drive them nuts with that triple option. But that was the extent of any kind of a cupcake. Not Navy, Tennessee State, Central Michigan. I mean, Stanford sucks, but they always play Stanford. So you can't, that's not a cupcake game. But their 5 ACC games aren't exactly tough outside of Clemson. They do have USC on the schedule, as always. So you got Clemson, USC, and Ohio State. 3 top 10 teams. Rest of it, not so much. Phil Steele has their schedule rated at number 21, which is largely based on those 3 games. In the meantime, Phil Steele has 9 SEC teams with tougher schedules than the Irish. And you know what? Georgia's not one of them. The Dogs have by far the easiest schedule in the SEC at number 56. The one thing the NFL gets right is the best teams play the toughest schedules, and reverse order, the worst teams play the easier schedule, if there is such a thing in the NFL. But there's something just kind of skeevy about the fact that Georgia has the easiest schedule in the SEC. The 2-time defending Natty champion has the easiest schedule in the SEC. And it's not even close. The second easiest schedule is Arkansas at number 38. Remember when Arkansas was always having a tough schedule? Arkansas's non-conference is a joke. Western Carolina, Kent State, FIU. They get BYU. That's their tough one, if you will. BYU at home. Now they're at LSU. They're at Ole Miss. They're at Alabama. They're at Florida. They catch Texas A&M in the neutral site game. They got the Mississippi State at home. They get Auburn at home. They get Missouri at home. But their non-conference is a joke. 9 SEC teams with a tougher schedule than Notre Dame. Thom Luginbill of ABC and ESPN is coming up at the top of the one. He'll be with us all season long. He has got the Monday Labor Day night game, Clemson and Duke. So he gets to see just how good Clemson is, taking on Duke in an ACC tilt. All right, back there in the little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax, answering phones, keeping us on the air, knocking his chair over. A mistake. DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizz, I got to get used to this. I'm looking at the clock. It's 12:29, and I'm just getting you introduced in here. Now, did you go all Hulk Hogan on your chair there, or was that just on mistake? I saw you knocking your
honestly,
chair over.
I did not mean to knock that over at all.
Okay.
I really didn't. I'm being totally, brutally honest with you. Did not mean to knock that over, but I did go Hulk Hogan on it. I did kind of like knock it over with my body. When you tack on a lot of mass, you lose flexibility, and sometimes you just knock things over, and that's my life pretty much. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you right now, I was thinking about
over or taking on the mass.
both. But I was thinking about what you said about how these players are basically talking like Nick Saban, and that's called Stockholm syndrome. And Seth McLaughlin and other players, please blink if you're okay, because it just seems like when you're with somebody for so long, you get the terminology and the verbiage. I've been with the big dog for so long. I get a lot of your verbiage You know what I mean? When you're not here, or and I try to ask the same types of questions and be the same way.
But isn't Stockholm syndrome? I mean, that's kind of got a negative connotation.
It's kidnapping.
Stockholm syndrome is when you fall in love with your kidnapper. You know what I mean? I don't think the players are like kidnapped by Nick Saban. I think there's got to be another word for it. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something.
Discipline.
You're parroting.
Yeah.
The guy a little bit, and I know what you're talking about listening to shows.
Barbarism.
No, it was no parroting, not pirating. Parroting. You're like a parrot. I know I had to be careful with that because before I ever went on the air the first time, before I ever went on the air, there was only one sports talk radio show that I ever listened to, and it was a young Jim Rome. Young Jim Rome. He had 4 affiliates at the time. And one of the 4 affiliates, his 4 first affiliates, was Rochester, which he used to call Crapchester. Which is a fitting name. That's what we used to call it, Crapchester. Yeah, but I listened to Rome, and the problem was Romey talked like I talked normally, like with my guys. That's the way we talked. He used a lot of the same nomenclature, and I was on a station, my first radio show, I was on a station that was a Rome affiliate. So I would have to go out of my way to make sure I wasn't saying things
negatively
that Rome would say.
Yeah.
No, that he would say, because it would be I would sound like I was ripping off Rome. You know what I mean? If I say, it's not like I was like, give him a drug test and all this other kind of stuff. But Rome was the master of using drops. And it's one of the reasons why I became very in tune with drops, to where I would use a lot of different drops.
All right. Appreciate it. Good to see you again. Free coat.
You know what I mean? It was just drops.
No problem. Just having a heart attack.
I mean, I used to use them even more.
Ow! Right in the kisser.
There were so many of them.
Someone call someone, because there's a cleanup on aisle 3 as a man is down.
So I would have to rack them. You know what I mean? I'd have to be careful. Rack them. And not sound like
not trying to overstep on anybody's toes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not just parrot what he's saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I'll be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
My sons, who have been radio broadcasters, both Joe and now John, they have to fight it a little bit. I would listen to them sometimes. I'd listen to their long form show a little bit sometimes, and they will have a tendency sometimes to sound like me in terms of saying some of the same things, because they've heard it for all their lives. You know what I mean? They heard it their entire lives. So that's why, you got to be a little bit careful with that. It was a scary night in some places Friday night. Let's just tell it the way it was. It was a little bit weird on Friday night, including at Sparkman, where our crew, which is my 2 sons, our crew were on the scene to call the game on Zone 4. And they had an early technical issue. We thought it was something with the equipment. Apparently what it was an outlet popped. That's all it was an outlet that they were plugged into popped. And when the outlet popped and fried, it knocked them off the air. So we're like scrambling, trying to figure out if there was something wrong with, Grizz was like going nuts trying to figure it out. We thought it was something maybe with our, like we had lost the internet or something was bad, and the game kept kicking to my game, because what happens is that if we lose our feed from the stadium, it automatically kicks to whatever's on the air.
Yeah.
So what it was, Grizz, I don't know if you ever got the explanation. What happened was an actual outlet fried, the outlet they were plugged into. And I was like, what's going on? And John is sending me the plugs keep popping. And I'm like, what plugs? I mean, he's talking about the board? I don't know what he means. The plugs keep popping. I'm like,
the box. Somebody keeps box. Over. You know what I mean? There's too much electricity on the box, and the breakers keep popping.
That's what happened. They popped it actually like burned. It actually made like a.
That is.
So they had to switch. And then once they got into a different outlet, they were fine. And the game was going great in the first half for the Senators, who led 31-0 behind the 4 touchdown passes from Josh Ward, who looked absolutely great. Then it got weird, right? Because it was like we have this little group chat amongst all the games that we're doing, and we're like telling each other what the scores are so that we can report them in our game. And we're all like, hey, Joe, what's going on over there? It's like it should be end of the third quarter by now. And he's like, yeah, still at halftime. They're like, Hazel Green hasn't come out yet, and there's something going on here. We don't know what's going on. And then the next thing you know, and I don't know if John, to what level John talked about this on his show this morning on the Morning Blitz, because that he has the firsthand account of it. But the next thing you know, they're being run off the air. They're like being cleared. The booth is being cleared by cops.
Yeah.
There's all kind of a disturbance in the south end zone where kids are running around and nobody knows what's going on. I don't know, running around. I'm not 100% sure what that means. But kids were running around over there. And the cop says, you guys got to just leave and leave your equipment. And John's like, we can't leave the equipment. We're not leaving this equipment. And the guy's like, you can replace the equipment. You can't replace your life. And it was like, oh. Wow. Okay.
Immediately out. I would have been immediately out. Yes, sir.
Well, they went ahead and broke the equipment down and then left. And there was a lot of rumor, innuendo, rumor, a lot of talk about stuff. And it was, people were rushing to leave the game. There was a lot of misinformation, which is what happens in a crowd, right? Anytime you get a crowd going, you get that panic that kind of goes through the crowd.
Yeah. And you
don't know what's going on.
You never know what's going on, and it's just terrible because it's obviously, kids being kids to an extent, and the only thing that it scares me is when you see people start running, there's an issue. You already had an issue in Oklahoma. You had an issue down in Mobile. I mean, with shootings going on during games. So you just never know what could possibly go on, whether it's whatever it could be, whatever the situation.
And sometimes they're running because somebody else is running. You know what I mean? And that's the problem where it gets out of control, is that they're running because somebody else was running. Now, there was no weapons involved in this thing. It was an abundance of caution. There was more information that came out. The school system said that, look, in Sunday night's message, the school system said that Friday night's events were extremely disappointing on many levels, disheartening to read people's false comments on social media without knowing the facts of what happened. This is fear-mongering, great word, and has no place in a school or school district environment. We can share what we know as definites as we continue to investigate this disruption with the Madison County Sheriff's Office, Madison County School Resource Officers, and school and district administrators. There was no weapons used or shown during the incident. We can also share there were no physical altercations or injuries. We also want to share that the incident was caused by individuals who wanted to strike fear in the crowd, the message said. It says that rumors were rampant on social media after the game was stopped, and many blaming an incident on a supposed TikTok challenge after disruptions were reported at games across the country. Some parents reported their children received minor injuries due to the crowd rushing to leave the game. This is screaming fire in a crowded movie theater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And creating this incident and how it got started, I don't know that I'll ever get to the bottom of it. Now, there was other incidences that were a little bit crazy. Down at the Hueytown game, Hueytown-Ramsey game, a 16-year-old kid showed up with a handgun, and it was an assistant coach that was the hero. All right, this is what happened down there, according to AL.com. As the teen suspect tried to elude law enforcement in the home side bleachers, Hueytown assistant coach Chandler Byram sprang into action. As soon as an officer from Jefferson County pulled out his taser, the guy tried to make a beeline up the stairs to the press box, Byram said. I'm in the press box. And as soon as he came around the corner, I opened the door and tackled him to the ground until the cops got up there. Turns out that there was a weapon. It was recovered, and the team was taken into juvenile detention. This was down at Hueytown. All right, this is down at Hueytown. The ordeal delayed the game briefly as players dropped to the field. What a sight that is. I've seen video of that down at the Viger game. At the Blount Viger game down in Lab Peoples Stadium, where that happened. The announcers at the Hueytown game told the players and spectators to get down. Get down! It's like something out of a bad movie. And not get up until they're given the all clear. According to those in attendance at the game, multiple social media posts described the incident as chaotic and scary. And I got to say this, Chris.
Yeah.
Kid had a gun.
Yeah.
And that assistant coach came out of the press box and tackled this kid in the stands who had a gun.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, think about it. I mean, that's a brave thing to do. A lot of people wouldn't necessarily, because the cop pulls the taser. Now the kid is like a cat backed into a corner, and is he going to fight back? Is he going to pull the gun? They didn't say if the gun was out or if it was in his pants or wherever it was. But kudos to this assistant coach who came out of the press box and tackled the kid. That took stones.
I think it was that Oregon coach that came out of the room and just kind of like hugged the kid that had the gun in the hallway in this Oregon school. And I didn't
even hear about that one.
Yeah, that was a few years ago or something like that. I have to go back and look at that. But it was where a kid had a gun and he was going through the school, and the coach came out and hugged him and actually stopped him from doing what he was going to do. So
we don't know what this kid was going to do, or if he just why he had a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes these things
happen
to that coach. Stones to the coach. I mean, he comes out, he tackles the kid. Sometimes things happen that are like totally innocent. Yeah. I mean, I saw this happen at where were we? Page High School. All right, Page High School, where my kid was playing, and a kid shows up. It might have been homecoming, because I know my daughter. She was like on the homecoming court. Anyway, a kid shows up. Was it at Page, or it might have been one of the other schools? I don't know. It was some country school in Tennessee. And a kid shows up, and he's got a knife. He's got a hunting knife on his belt.
That's normal.
Came right out of the woods. I mean, he literally had been hunting. They came right out of the woods and went to the game. And it was like a student who had gone hunting after school.
Yeah.
And he came out of the woods, and he had just a hunting knife in a sheath on his hip. And he went into the stadium, and the cops surrounded him. They put him on the ground, everything else, because he had a knife. It was like the hunting knife. It just came out of the woods, But they have to be careful.
It's different. I mean, my parents were talking about how old Grissom back in the days, and you could look in the parking lot, and there'd be guys with trucks with guns in the back of their, shotguns in the back of their truck. Grissom was no different than these countries. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was just different times. And nowadays, it's just like, it's really not different times. I think it's just we have too many crazies in this world. And that when you have situations like this where, these irresponsible people have guns or are feeling a certain way, it's better to just talk it out and not try to go down this weird dark hole of, this mass.
I don't know how the kid...
Or whoever,
things.
You just never know,
there's two different things. One, you've got the situation where down at Lad People's Stadium, during that Blunt-Viger game, you got that situation where there was fights in the stands that were going. They had like 13,000 people at that game. And there were some kind of fights that broke out, and they told the kids to get down, and everybody got down because nobody knew if they had weapons. The thing is that in these crowds, we are so sensitive now because of school shootings and other things that have happened. Anytime you get a mass of people together, if somebody acts out, you're going to have this situation where you really don't know. I mean, it could get out of control so fast. You don't know where. You got to kind of nip it in the bud. And how does the kid get a gun into the game at Hueytown? How does he get a pistol? How does a 16-year-old kid walk into a game? Well, you know what? You don't go through a metal detector. I mean, what's the next step to do? Are we supposed to pat down? Now you do it we went to the Braves game, got pat down, had to go through the metal detector. They do it at the football game, the NFL game.
They're going to do it probably at the soccer game. They're probably going to have those things set up when you come Friday night.
Why?
When you go out to Joe Davis, because they already have the metal detectors and everything set up there too.
Oh, you mean they do it for the soccer game?
They do it for the soccer games. Yeah.
So you think they're going to use the same?
I would think so.
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
My thing is they used to do it all the time for basketball games, and that was 2019 when I watched Columbia Jemison play. I mean,
how many of those things would you have to have? Do you know how slow that would be? I mean, you'd have to have a bunch of them.
They did that at A&M, and that took forever. And that was during like the whole COVID thing and stuff like that too. That took it took a minute to get in the game. But what I was saying about the Jemison Columbia game, everyone kind of parted the Red Sea during the game, and people had to come out of nowhere, security, police, everything like that, and all it was a rat. So like a lot of times is you don't know what the situation is, but that is just absolutely scary, and that's what these first responders are here for, is to try to calm everybody down. But when you're running, I mean, it's pure chaos.
Go to AL.com and look at the picture from the Blunt-Viger game, and the players all laying on their stomachs on the field. I mean, that's crazy. It's a high school football game.
Same thing. It happened in Oklahoma. It happened in Oklahoma this past weekend, too. Some gunfires were going, and kids were running all over the place. People just dropped or ran.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Sad times. Sad times. It's ridiculous. All right. We got to get a break. When we come back, phone lines are open if you want to jump in. You can do that. Coming up at the top of the hour, Thom Luginbill, ABC, ESPN. He'll be joining us each and every week, courtesy of Woody Anderson Ford. It's a Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your roof is the first line of defense for your home. Do you have water stains on your ceiling, paint peeling off your walls, shingles missing? It's probably time for you to get your free roof inspection. Locally owned and operated, licensed, and insured, Yellowhammer Roofing is the Yellowhammer State hometown team. Yellowhammer Roofing. Let our family protect what's most important to you, your family. 256-232-1933 or online at yellowhammerroofing.com.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Score big deals at Baumhauer's this football season and order from our Inflation Bites menu. Try our Buffalo Wing Special with fries and a complimentary beverage for only $9.99. And what's football without a cold beer? Our pitchers of Yingling and Yingling Flight are only $7.99, served all day, 7 days a week. And huddle up, football fans. Sign up today for our free NFL Pick'em contest at Baumhauers.com for weekly prizes. Baumhauers, legendary fun and legendary food.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit huntsvillesports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home, doing whatever it is you do. Then, pow! The power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Valley Equipment Rental has grown by leaps and bounds over the past year and is adding more and more equipment to their already impressive fleet. Valley is a locally owned family equipment rental business serving the entire Tennessee Valley. They concentrate on the local contractors, building repeat business and specializing in long-term rentals for their local contractors. The benefit of long-term rental is that they stay on top of their assets. If something you own goes down in the field, you have to stop and fix it before you can finish the job. With Valley Equipment Rental, they will fix it on site or bring you another machine while that one's being fixed. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and asking for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid to upper 80s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still going to be possible. Otherwise, we'll sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 60s, lower 70s for some. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Listen each Friday to the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by Alumni Hall. If you're heading to Alabama or to Tuscaloosa or to the Plains, make sure that you got your gear from Alumni Hall, from gifts to tailgating items to the coolest clothing. Alumni Hall at Bridge Street next to the Kona Grill across from Connor Steakhouse has what you need to look the part. Go to Alumni Hall and get your cool stuff for Alabama and Auburn before you head down to the stadium. Or even if you're going to watch a game, look, there's 4 things you can do. You go to the game, or you go in your house and watch it in the quiet of your own house with nobody. Some people like to do this with nobody. And then you can watch it with a crowd out in your house, or you can watch it with a crowd out at the game, or out at the bar, I should say, or at a restaurant or someplace like that. You go to Baumhauer's and you watch the game there. In any case, you want your gear, you need to go to Alumni Hall. All right, let's go to the lines. Jody is up. Jody, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Abraham. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Good. I just want to start out. I'm a first-time caller, and I listen to your show pretty regularly. I'd say almost every day, actually. And
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm quite. I like your opinions, and the fact you are opinionated, which is what I like about it, and that I appreciate. I'm also an Alabama fan. And greatly appreciate the views of that and the Saban Show and everything else. But I have to say, sir, Friday night, you made some comments at the Buckhorn game. I'm a Buckhorn. I graduated from Buckhorn in 1982. Right. And actually, I played football. I was on the 1980 10-0 championship team in that particular year. Okay. So I do have experience playing football and understand what goes into it. But I'm also a band director. And the comments you made, the comments you made about the band uniforms were completely uneninformed and uneducated.
In what way? Please help me with that. And let me just set. Let me set it up for our listeners. Let me set it up for our listeners so they know. At the end of the half, and this has been something that's been bugging me for years because I've been seeing it. I saw it in Tennessee as well for years. At the end of the half, I commented on the fact that I don't understand why the football players could wear football gear, helmets, shoulder pads, everything else, and go out there for 48 minutes and bust a hump. And that these bands, when the bands come out, you only get 10 chances a year to show your stuff. And when these bands go out there, they got to wear shorts and T-shirts, and they're not even uniform shorts. They're just like random shorts and all wearing the same T-shirt. And you only get 10 chances a year. And if they're out there for 6 or 8 minutes, why they can't wear their uniform and yet the football teams can. So anyway, that was me. All right, so go ahead, Mr. Stiles. Take it from there.
Well, number one, they don't only get 10 chances a year. There might be only 10 ball games a year, but that's not solely what they're there for and what they do. If you really want to see what the bands do, you need to go to a band competition. How many band competitions have you been to, Mr. Abraham?
I actually been to quite a few. I love marching bands. I went to a school that had a world-renowned marching band. It used to go to Ireland at Bishop Kearney High School, the Bishop Kearney Marching Kings, and they used to actually go to Ireland and play there. I'm a big fan of it. One of my favorite movies of all times is Drumline. I just love band music. I absolutely love band music. So go ahead. Go ahead.
That's good. I'm glad you.
But you only get 10 chances in front of the. What I mean is, you get 10 games that you get to do that at. 10 times you get to do that at, and I'm just saying, wear the uniform, or have lightweight uniforms or something other than T-shirts and shorts.
Band number one, as you well know, the bands are not funded, and not at all. and I suppose the football team isn't either. And the uniforms they wear are wool. They're wool.
Yeah, they're heavy.
If you've never worn one, they don't breathe. They're not made for that. They're made for they're meant to put together to create an impact on the field. Mm-hmm. And number two, how in the world are you? Please explain to me how you would logistically have the kids in the stands supporting the teams, and then simply 200 or more kids change in and out of uniforms. That, by the way, costs between $200 and $300 a piece. Okay.
Well, what do they do at the college football games? What do they do at the college games?
Football games? Have you ever seen? They take off their actually
Tops.
Jack State. Yeah. I watched the Jack State game. Jacksonville State has probably the best marching band in the country. Okay, they wore shorts and T-shirts out there because of the oppressive heat. Football players, and I know because I played football, those uniforms are not nearly as heavy. Yes, you got the pads, you got the pants, and all that, but they are designed for you to be able to run and for you to be athletic and all that. The marching band uniforms are designed specifically for an impact, a visual impact. Okay, and so they don't. That's just not the way that right now. That's just not the way things go. That's not how they are.
Well, the key is
you also have to have them dry clean. So imagine sweating up at the uniforms, and then you got what's really important to you, which is not the football games are important because you're supporting your school, you're supporting everything that's there. But what's in the minds of the kids and the band directors and everyone that does the activity are the competition. So they want to have everything as clean as possible, looking good for the judges who are critically looking for them on the field during competition.
When did the competition start?
Where does the money come from to dry clean 200 to 300 uniforms every so often?
When does the competition start?
October.
What time of year?
Some of them in mid-October sometime, and they go, typically for 2 to 3 weeks, and then if they're in a specific national organizations like Band of America, they go a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in October, and they're typically in the evening. Okay, so but my point being,
so are these games. And I understand what you're saying. I hear you. We'll agree to disagree because of the fact that it's no hotter now than it was years ago when these bands were always in their full gear when they went out and performed these games. And again, Alabama's band, Auburn's band, it's going to be hot as all get out down there in Tuscaloosa and over in the plains. They'll be wearing their band uniforms. And it just seems to be for 6 minutes. They could take their tops off. That's what a lot of times you see the kids do. They'll take their tops and turn them down, open up their band uniform and let them breathe or whatever, when they got T-shirts. They don't have to completely change, obviously, before they come out for their competition or whatnot. It just seems to me that it's, that they could, yes, it's not, the football players are not wearing wool uniforms, but believe me, those shoulder pads and those helmets and everything, that's very warm. And they're out there for a long time. And I just, just didn't seem to make sense to me.
I wore shoulder pads in football.
Why not them get at the very least, all right, and we got to end it here because we run out of time. And I totally appreciate your opinion, and I can argue with you because it's an opinion. You got opinion, I got opinion. But could they at least invest in uniform shorts then? If they're going to do that, I mean, you're looking out there. I see girls that got the jean shorts on. I see other guys that got the dark colored. Others, some have light colored. I mean, goodness gracious, it's a 6A school, whatever the school is. Why not get uniform shorts? So they look uniform at least.
The point, but then I have one more.
It's not a bad idea. Quickly,
I know you're under time constraints, but the real issue, in my opinion, is not just the fact that you have the varying opinions, and mine is slightly different than yours, of course. The fact that it seems as if a lot of the sports people think the only thing that the bands are here for is for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. He makes a good point.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A decision on ACC expansion expected in the coming days, and ESPN's Pete Thamels reporting there's continued momentum toward the league adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Sources caution to ESPN, though the situation is fluid, nothing's finalized. A decision either way, though, expected early this week. Big question in the NFL still. Where will running back Jonathan Taylor play this season? Answer to that will come soon. Colts have given Taylor a deadline of tomorrow to find a suitable trade. Indy's looking for a first-round pick or a package of picks worth similar value. Team USA rolled by Greece 109-81, improved to 2-0 at the FIBA World Cup. Austin Reeves, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. After the final pool game on Wednesday, the Americans will move on to round 2. U.S. Open, tennis's final Grand Slam of the year begins today. Coverage in 1 hour on ESPN and ESPN+.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Thom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid to upper 80s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still going to be possible. Otherwise, we'll sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 60s, lower 70s for some. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got it locked on your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Nick Saban Show. This is Eli Gold, and this is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Well,
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Tom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by the service team at Woody Anderson Ford. They are not only experts in the service of Fords and other makes, but they also use genuine Ford and Motorcraft parts on every Ford service job, from tire rotations to wheel alignments, brake jobs, oil changes, engine tune-ups, and training work. The service department and the Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center have got your Ford or other make covered. Dependable service no matter the make or model. They got a tremendous body shop as well. They'll take care of the insurance for you. Certified Gold pre-owned vehicles are online and on the lot, plus all their new inventory. They're at the corner of Sparkman and Jordan Lane. Woody Anderson Ford, the only place I've gone in the Tennessee Valley since 2004. And once again, year number 5 or 6 anyway, they bring us the one and only Tom Luganville from ABC and ESPN TV, and now doing some additional shows as well that you can find online. And Lugs joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Lugs, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good afternoon to you.
Congratulations on the new shows. I know you're working with the guys down there in Birmingham from the next round. Tell the folks where they can find those shows that you're doing and how frequently they're on.
Yeah, so I've joined for 3 one-hour shows that I'll be doing weekly on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Mondays will be live at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. We did our first one today, and then we'll have 2 other taped shows on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and it'll run on all of their local platforms, their social media channels, Disrupt the Media, and their YouTube channels. So it's essentially very similar to the setting I've done with you for years, and I've done with them. It's just gone to a little bit of a different medium, and committed a little bit more of my schedule to do it. So yeah, man, between that and recruiting and College Football Live, which I'm doing right when I get off the radio here with you, each and every week just got a little bit busier.
Yeah, more Tom Luganville is a good thing, in my opinion. Are you on any of these high school games? I know you start your college coverage with the Clemson-Duke game on Monday night, on Labor Day night, but what about all these college games or these high school games that are going on? Did you draw any of those assignments?
I had the very first one, which was actually a standalone game on ESPN2 2 weeks ago. It was on August 18th, and between Carrollton, Georgia, and Langston Hughes. So you had Juju Lewis, who just committed to USC last week, and then Ohio State's verbal commitment, Aaron Noland at quarterback. We had a nail-biter, 39-34. And this last weekend, I actually had to go to a wedding, so I wasn't a part of any of our coverages last weekend. And like you said, we'll be kicking things off on Labor Day night on ESPN between Duke and Clemson.
I know a lot of the Alabama fans were excited to watch Carlsbad play and see Julian Sayin play. He's a slightly built guy. I mean, he's not one of these big, strong, tall, drink of water type quarterbacks. He's about 6'1", 190 pounds or so. Will get a little bit bigger, but and I don't know for the life of me why his parents didn't name him Justin. I mean, he's got to be just saying. I mean, I don't understand why you would name the kid Julian Sayin, but anyway, what's your take on Julian Sayin? I know he's ranked right now on the composites as the number 2 quarterback in the country.
Yeah, and he's our number 2 overall player as well. We think he's got a chance to be special. He had a really nice night and a big outing, both with his arm and his legs, in their big win over the weekend. He's you kind of hit the nail on the head. He's actually built very, very similar to the way Bryce Young was built, and especially coming out. He may weigh a little bit more than Bryce did when they were at the same stage, but just a magnificent. What I call improviser. He's such a creative, instinctive player. And, I know obviously Alabama fans are super excited. But Alabama doesn't quite know who their quarterback's going to be yet. So everybody keeps expecting this just to be a placeholder till Julian Sayin arrives. You don't know what's going to unfold yet. So let's see what happens with the guys that are already in the stable.
He's totally unfazed by the fact that he's walking into a room that has 5 scholarship quarterbacks right now. Now, we know that, transfer portal days, that's all going to change. But Nick Saban today, earlier on our air and the show, talking about how, this is every year he comes up with a new reason as to not have a depth chart and not tell us anything about who the starters and the backups are. Today, he said it creates a lot of distractions within the locker room. And quite frankly, we don't need the distractions. I want all our players to continue to compete and continue to compete for playing time to try and play at the highest level. I don't want anybody on our team to think they're a backup player or whatever. Well, the fact of the matter is there's going to be more backups than there is starters. It's just the way it is. And these quarterbacks, you might see 2 or 3 play against Middle Tennessee. They got to get that figured out, though, I would imagine, by the time they play Texas. And you wonder if Dylan Lonergan, who's, by the way, been outstanding supposedly in fall camp, against the other JVs, and Eli Holstein, which was another highly ranked quarterback coming in, somebody's got to go, right? I mean, Tyler Buckner's got all this eligibility left. Ty Simpson's a freshman for all intents and purposes. Milroe's still got 2 or 3 years of eligibility left. Somebody's got to be going. 2 or 3 of those quarterbacks probably going to transfer.
Yeah, and I think that's the expectation. That's the world that we're all living in now. And the coaches know it. You try to stockpile as many as you can and let them battle it out, and hopefully you maintain their interest and keep them engaged so they stick around long enough to actually put themselves through a competition. I think that's kind of part of what bothers me sometimes with where we're at with the transfer portal is that there's so many kids in there, and there's a variety of reasons why kids are in there, but there's a lot of kids in there that the first time something doesn't go their way, they want to leave. Right? And at the quarterback position, everybody expects to play right away. They have no idea how steep the learning curve is and how big of a jump it is. And if you're going to win a quarterback job, you've got to beat out other people. That may not happen overnight. So I think Julian's saying, or any quarterback in the 24, 25, 26 class, and they're looking at what may look like a stocked cabinet right now, it may not be by the time they arrive on campus, too. And keep in mind, there's not going to be any more COVID year guys. Mm-hmm. So that extra year is not there from an eligibility perspective either. So if a guy feels like his clock's ticking and he doesn't see the field within the first year or two, especially a quarterback, they're going to be prone to leave.
Thom Luganbill with us, ABC, ESPN. I have kind of thrown without any, I laugh, because a lot of times we got one guy that calls the show. We call him my cousin Vinny because the first time he called the show, he was like, okay, my aunt knows a guy that's nephew was a walk-on at Alabama, and he says, that whoever was, I forget who it was, that Ty Simpson's the guy. He's the one that's winning the job, or Buckner's the guy, or whatever. So everybody has got an opinion on this thing. My opinion, based on just what I have seen, I like Ty Simpson. I really do. I do understand what Milroe brings to the table in terms of just being a Swiss Army knife and how he can make something out of something that is completely breaking down and so on back there, and that creates a lot of trouble. Buckner, I don't know about Buckner. I've never been a big Buckner fan. What's your take? What do you remember about Ty Simpson as you were working him up before he became a college football player?
Oh, a fantastically talented kid. And I think that as pure passers, between him and the 2 young guys, Lonergan and Holston, they've got some really, really talented guys that are just good pure throwers of the football. But I think you hit on something that's really, really important, Tom, and that is if you don't have a player that's come to the forefront or taken the reins or just gone past the pack, and it's all very, very close, I think there's 2 things you got to do. You got to gauge who has the team. That's number one, and who has the locker room. And then I think you've got to default to the guy that's the most difficult to defend. And the guy that's most difficult to defend is going to be Jalen Milroe because of his feet. And I think you want to force the defense to have to play 11 on 11. Because if the quarterback's not a run threat, and he's not an improviser and a creator on his own, then you're basically playing 10 on 11. And so I think at least initially, we'll see at least 3 quarterbacks potentially in that game in the opener. Maybe more, who knows. If somebody gets the hot hand, maybe you let them go a little bit. You put a bunch of guys on tape, and the next week you got to play Texas, so you got a little gamesmanship there. And now they have to prepare for what could be a multitude of guys that they could see. And then let the chips fall where they may. I don't think them naming a starter even if they were to name a starter, I really don't think it means anything, Tom. I think if they name a starter, it just means that guy is walking out there first, probably because he slightly did a few things better than everyone else. But unless he does it with the live bullets flying by, he may not be the starter in the second quarter or the second game or what have you. I think that's what's going to happen.
Can you say Blake Barnett? I'm just saying.
Right.
Sure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Remember Blake Barnett starting against USC for 15 minutes, and that didn't last very long. Thom Luginbill with us here. All right, so you got an ACC game. You played in the ACC at Georgia Tech. I know you have an affinity for the ACC as well. I need you. I'm not nearly as smart as you are, so I need you to tell me exactly what the value to the ACC would be to bring in Stanford and Cal and SMU. I mean, how is it that the ACC doesn't say, you know what, just people are not us. We're us. We're here. What Stanford, SMU would come in with no money for 7 years. The other two would get 30% money for the first couple of years. All these teams that were unattractive to the TV people who were doing TV deals now are all in all these other conferences, and all of a sudden they become attractive. What would be the point of bringing those people into the ACC and having them travel cross-country in all these sports?
Strength in numbers is the only thing I can think of. I don't think it financially makes much sense. You've already got your academically profiled universities between Wake and Duke and Virginia. So it's not like you're looking to add somebody that ups, that side of it. You've got all of that. SMU as a private school can probably afford to do this, right, and fund it because they just want to make sure that somehow, some way, there's a landing spot, for them. Because that's what's going on in all of this, Tom. When the music stops, you don't want to be left without a chair, right? I mean, look at Oregon State and Washington State. They could be looking at having to become a Group of 5 program and going from making $30 million in television revenue to 3 to 5. I mean, that's not sustainable. And so I think at the end of the day, Stanford and Cal is in complete financial disarray from an athletic department profile. So they need anything that they can grab onto. The question you're asking is, what does it do for the ACC? I don't know. I really don't. I don't see it. I don't see it making a ton of financial sense. As if they're going to be bringing in all this revenue. They'll probably be expanding expenditures with just travel alone. When you consider all of the different sports. So I think that's a little bit of a unique component. We're already seeing that with what's happening with the Big Ten, of course. But I don't know, man. It's a really, really weird thing to me.
Well, and SMU is where they belong in the American Athletic Conference, in the AAC. Right. I mean, that's not going anywhere. I would understand why they think that automatically they need to be in a Power 5 conference. To me, the only thing that made any sense for Stanford and Cal, go ahead, rip the Band-Aid off if you're the Big Ten, and now you got 2 10s. You got the Big Ten West and the Big Ten East, period. End of story. And you have the whole coat. You have every team in the Pac-12 that has any attractiveness at all. You've carved them all out, and you have the Big Ten East, the Big Ten West, and you got 2 Big Tens. I mean, that made a little bit of sense because you still have the California schools. You still have Washington and Oregon. The ACC, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. And I don't think it automatically makes Florida State or Clemson or even Miami think that, we're a better ACC for now. And this concept of paying those schools more or maybe paying, kind of goes against the concept of a conference where you're going to say, okay, based on your rankings or what bowl game you went to or, Florida State didn't have any problem taking all that money when they were, a bottom feeder. Now all of a sudden, because they look like maybe they're a playoff contender, they want a bigger chunk of the pie.
Yeah, they do want a bigger chunk of the pie, and I know that there are some motivations to succeed in the league when it comes to revenue sharing in the ACC, and apparently by adding Stanford and SMU and Cal, it would trigger some of those that would benefit, let's just say, a Florida State, maybe a handful of others. So maybe that calms Florida State down for a little while because, all of this mess with Florida State and how vocal and public they've been about it, there's nowhere for them to go, right? And not only would you have to pay a $120 million exit fee, just to try to challenge the grant of rights might cost you $300 or $400 million, and they don't have it. So, like, where would you be going with this? And what are they're trying to push the envelope and don't really have an end game right now. And if you're Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, I think the one positive that you do have is you do have the length of the contract providing stability.
Right.
That you do have. And right now, stability counts for an awful lot in what is maybe the most unstable climate we've ever seen in intercollegiate athletics.
Yeah, the estimates are altogether with the grant of rights and everything else, it would cost Florida State or anybody else to leave the league, it would cost them $500 million. Oh,
yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Okay, yeah. That's a lot of bread. I mean, $500 million to
But you know
leave.
what,
I mean,
too, Tom?
Yeah.
In all of this, and this is what really drives me nuts more than anything else, is everything that is done to ensure financial security and revenue generation. Nobody making these decisions has thought one word about the athletes. They haven't given one thought to what that's going to do with these kids and travel, and especially the sports that play multiple games per week.
Yeah, it's a great point. Thom Luganville with us here. All right, so you get Clemson. It seems to be to a certain extent because of, maybe one soft year or whatever, that Clemson has kind of left the national mindset as to, whether or not they're a playoff contender or not. And it would seem to be, to me, that they have shored up that quarterback position. And, maybe they'll get more, more competition from some of the other teams in the ACC that are getting a little bit better. That Clemson-Notre Dame game later on in the season, it will be very, very interesting. But what's your take on Clemson? Is Clemson still in the mix as a legit top four type team in your mind?
Absolutely they are. And, we forget or we gloss over the fact that this was a team, okay, in the last 2 years as a football team. This team won 21 games with mediocre quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you about how talented they are? So getting the quarterback upgraded, which they have, little new energy on offense with Garrett Riley coming in to coach the offense. I saw this team practice about 2 weeks ago. They are loaded talent-wise. And I think that Dabo has this team where he prefers them, which means he likes to have the little old Clemson mantra, right? And let everybody else talk about Florida State in the conference. Let everybody else talk about Drake May in North Carolina. He loves that, and he hasn't had that the last several years. And so I think he's going to be ready to go. The thing that I find is so intriguing about this matchup is I think people are going to be in for a real treat to see Duke's quarterback, Riley Leonard. He is really, really good, really good. And Mike Elko, it just fell into his lap. They didn't know what they had when he got there. They went through a quarterback competition. Turns out they got a difference maker at quarterback. I mean, what a great way to kind of get you off the mat as a first-year head coach, and they go out and win 9 games. And so I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I still think Clemson obviously will outman Duke, but Duke's got a quarterback, and this isn't a Duke team that is completely devoid of talent. In fact, they got a ton of guys back on both sides of the ball.
All right, and finally, we call it Overreaction Monday for a reason. This is where the fans go nuts. And nowhere are they going more nuts right now than the sidewalk alumni of Notre Dame over Sam Hartman and how great he looked throwing 4 touchdown passes against the Naval Academy, for God's sakes. Hartman is a very, very nice quarterback. There's no doubt about it. I don't understand why Notre Dame is playing some of the people they're playing. They're playing Tennessee State next week, and then they're playing Central Michigan. When did Notre Dame start playing cupcakes? Navy and Air Force. That were their 2 cupcakes, basically. Everybody else they played were, solid teams. But are we overreacting to what Sam Hartman did in that first game? Is Notre Dame automatically a national title contender in your mind?
I think they are a college football playoff contender. I think the national championship contender is an entirely different discussion. Number one, I don't know about you, I was astounded at how bad Navy was. Mm-hmm. I did not expect them to be that poor of a football team. I know it was only week 1. So I think you've got to sit back and take that one with a grain of salt because of who the competition was. Listen, I don't know why we should be surprised by Sam Hartman. I mean, the guy's collecting Social Security. He started 45 games. 45 games. Of course he should be playing like that. And he's got better players in some areas. I actually think they had better wide receivers at Wake Forest for him than they do currently right now at Notre Dame. But that offensive line and those two running backs are a problem. And all he's got to do is make sure he sits back and gets the ball where it needs to be, preferably off of play action, which is what they'll do. But I'm not surprised. But I've done a few of his games. He's not blessed with wow-you type of physical abilities. But, what has he not seen at the collegiate level? What are you going to throw at him from a coverage or a pressure thing that he hasn't seen? So he should have played like that.
Yeah, he's a sixth-year senior, over 13,000 yards passing. I mean, it's certainly been around for a minute. There's no doubt about it. But we've seen that, we've seen that formula work lately. I mean, we saw with Hendon Hooker. We've seen it. It's like you're either end of the spectrum. You're either seeing some great freshmen and sophomores that are out there doing damage, or 60-year seniors, especially the last of the COVID kids that are doing damage. So I guess we'll see how it's. Talk to me in 4 weeks though after they play Ohio State. That's going to be the litmus test for me. Then we'll know something about them.
And again, it's week 1. We'll see a lot of improvement between week 1 and week 2. And I think I'm not taking anything away from Sam Hartman or Notre Dame's performance. They were well prepared. They played really, really good football. But I mean, that was JV versus varsity.
So next Monday we're off with the Labor Day, so we won't have you next Monday. Maybe we'll get you later in the week, but have a great call on Monday night.
Labor Day, isn't that the definition of work?
Yeah, well, we're celebrating the people who actually do work, not us broadcasters. You know what I mean? We're gonna stand arm in arm with the construction workers and the factory people out there, and celebrate with them. We don't want to. We don't want to overdo it. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff.
All right. See you, man. Bye.
Thom Luganville. All season long, brought to us by Woody Anderson Ford. All right, let's get a break. We'll go open lines the rest of the way. Apparently, I've got these band people are really upset with me. All right, I've got them really fired up. So I'm gonna reset that. But the band people are up. What's this say? Buckhorn band uniforms. Buckhorn just paid $100,000 to dry clean. Is that right?
No. On new uniforms, $100,000 on new uniforms to dry clean would be insane.
Well, it says I'm reading what.
I know. I was trying to type it fast as I was listening to the show and the call. I mean, come on. I was trying to take notes. He's going to give you a long note. He's going to give you a long text or something later.
Buckhorn just paid $100,000 to dry clean. These would be crazy. Oh, okay. So they paid $100,000 for uniforms to dry clean. It'd be crazy. They made the decision not to wear the uniforms last minute because of the heat. So they grabbed whatever they could.
That was my shorthand. Sorry.
Okay. That wasn't from Ben. That was from you.
No, that was from Ben. That was Ben. I was shorthanding Ben.
Oh, you were shorthanding Ben.
His rant.
Okay.
But he will rant later to you.
That's okay. And that's okay because it's the one thing I have an opinion on this and I'll listen and I'll let people vent about it and let them say what they got to say. But I'm still dealing with the situation where a football team is wearing pads and they're going for 24 minutes at a time before they get a 15-minute break at halftime. And I'm still going with the fact that 4 football games, the band gets 10 opportunities to perform at a football game in front of their biggest crowds. I don't know, maybe they get bigger crowds at these band competitions. And I just think this is something that has happened. I don't know how many years it's been, the last 10 years or so, maybe I've seen this. Never saw it in the past. Never saw it in the past. Now he says Jacksonville State wore their underwear for their band performance, and that they're one of the best bands in the country. I don't know. All right, if they did, they did. It would seem to be that you could rock their band uniform for 6 minutes out there, or 7 minutes, however long they're out on the field. Just me. All right, we got a break. We'll come back. Bandapalooza. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying, okay? It's a difference. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
Do you want your next party to be something you'll remember? Then head on down to Flosa Premier to book your next big bash. Birthday? Corporate meeting? Maybe just a family reunion so you can get your cousin Kyle back into the basketball court so you can beat him at basketball. I have no idea. Flow is fun for all ages looking for high-flying excitement, arcade fun, and tasty snacks to satisfy your hunger. Whether you have 10 friends or 25, Flow is jam-packed with something fun for everyone. Get jumping with Flow off South Parkway in Drake or head over to flowhuntsville.com to book your next party now.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid to upper 80s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still going to be possible. Otherwise, we'll sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 60s, lower 70s for some. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you really want to see what the bands do, you need to go to a band competition. How many band competitions have you been to, Mr. Abraham?
Yeah. competitions have you been to, huh? Segment of the show. It's brought to you by my friends at Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental, they've got multiple locations, 2 locations, one on the North Parkway, one on the South Parkway. You know what they have at Valley Equipment Rental on top of everything else? They've got those big fans. You know, maybe you get one of them big fans and you set it up, you know, next behind the band in the stands or something and blow on them to keep them cool or something like that. I don't know. But they've got a lot of stuff at Valley Equipment Rental for you, including all the equipment you need, whether it's a dozer or an excavator, compressors, the hand tools. They got it all. Ross Roberts and his team put together a great inventory, and they're extremely knowledgeable. You might want to think about, if you're a contractor, long-term rentals. I used long-term rentals back 100 years ago when I was a contractor, and it made so much sense because if a piece of equipment went down, they would either bring in another piece or they'd send their crew out to repair it and get it back up immediately and do that kind of stuff, as opposed to me being dead in the water because it was my piece of equipment, and then I got to rent a piece anyway to replace it while my piece is getting fixed. You know what I'm saying? So Valley Equipment Rental, they know what they're doing. They're at the North Parkway, they're at the South Parkway with their 2 locations, Valley Equipment Rental. All right. I have been to band competitions. I am a huge fan of marching bands. I really am. That's a true story. I love marching bands. I love the drum lines. You know that. I have often talked about the drum line. It's one of those movies, in fact, where, you know, I can just watch and I want to, like, if it comes on, I played the drums in middle school. I'm a drumline guy. I mean, I dig the drum line. And when I was a sideline reporter doing high school and college games in Florida, at the height of the drum lines were going at each other, I would go down the beginning of the second half. I'd go down to the bands, and we'd play that live on the air. We'd do the drum line. This was in Florida, mind you now, right? Florida in August and September. And you know what those bands did in August and September in Florida, Grizz? Where the humidity is 1,000% and
what did
the
they
temperature.
Do?
They wore their uniforms. Is what they wore. I would be down there with them, and they would wear their uniforms right through the thing. They wore their uniforms the whole time. They wore their uniforms.
You really want to see what the bands do, you need to go to a band competition. How many band competitions have you been to, Mr. Abraham?
Yeah, how many band competitions have you been to? That was a good call. That was a really good call.
It was.
I'm glad he brought it up. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, and I know the bands, the uniforms are expensive, and now, the last guy said on the text window, or I don't know how he got it to Grizz. I don't know if he called and was talking to Grizz during a break or whatever, but he said that Buckhorn spent $100,000 on their uniforms. 100 gur on their uniforms. Okay, fine. I want to see them. You know what I mean? If you spend $100,000 in the uniforms, what's the point of leaving them hanging? I want to see them. All right, I want to see this $100,000. Here's the other thing. With all the technology these days, why do the band uniforms have to be heavy wool?
Yeah,
Can't they come up with something that looks really good that is more of a lightweight material? Can they get like Nike or Reebok to do like an athletic band uniform that weighs a little less maybe than being?
We'll get Nike right on it.
You know, last year, 2 years ago, you and I, Grizz, went to the Arkansas-Alabama game.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And remember before the game, it was hot as hell. Remember that? It was really, really hot that day.
Yes.
And remember what we did before the game? We went over to the Denny Chimes, right? And the band was over there. They had the drum line over there. And they were loosening up. The drum line, they were doing their thing. And then they put on a show for the people. This was like 2 hours before the game. Do you remember what the band was wearing that day?
Your uniforms.
Their uniforms. All right? In Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They were wearing their uniforms. That's what I'm saying. And then the second part of my rant, when I went on that rant, And again, this is not directed at Buckhorn in any way, shape, or form because everybody does it.
It's all bands.
Madison County did it. Their team
I
was
can
out
speak
there.
on a band, but I'll keep my mouth shut.
Well, all these bands do this.
Know,
These bands do this, right? This time, all these bands are doing this. But, okay, if you're going to wear your underwear, if you're going to wear T-shirts and shorts, can they be uniform? I mean, they all had the same kind of T-shirt on. We could tell that. But some kids had shorts that were jeans. Some kids had jorts, cut-off jean ones.
And that's
some
what that
kids had
message says at the bottom. It was last minute. They had to throw what they had on.
For this. Yeah, but they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
They've been doing this for years.
I mean, what if I forgot my butt pad? You know what I mean? I can't play football. If I don't have an extra butt pad, I can't play. And
you know how you could say that the wool uniforms. Do you know how warm a helmet is in the Sholem pads?
Yeah,
and with the jersey and the pants and everything, and not
just standing on the sideline, I could feel it.
Who was that kid for Madison County? They had a kid, number 37 at Madison County. Let me tell you, I want to say what his name is. Landon Duval is his name for Madison County. That kid never came off the field.
Yeah.
That's a 4A school. That kid never came off the field. I swear to God, I think he lined the field before. Well, I don't think anybody lined the field beforehand because that field was a little bit hard to see the lines, but
it's early in the season. Come on.
That kid cleaned the locker room afterwards. That Landon Duval kid never. He was playing safety. He was wide receiver. He was their kick returner and everything. I mean, he did everything.
He lost at least 10 pounds.
I don't know if he had 10 pounds to lose.
He's just pure.
Man. So anyway, it's just an opinion. And you certainly can debate my opinion. I have no issue with that. I am not one of these hosts. I never, ever hang up on somebody. The sales guy would still be on, except for if we hit the top of the hour break. The music cut us off. You know what I mean? It was ESPN SportsCenter cut us off. And if you want to set the text window, if you want to respond at the text window and debate it with me, you can do that at 732-982-7469, or you can call the radio show, 256-576-4977, like LSU Lynch did. LSU Lynch, welcome to the show. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
I'm gonna tell you what. If I had to rate this show today, because today is the first day of football,
Yeah.
How many fans? Number one, how many fans were panicking because we didn't get to hear the train coming on and saving? How many texts you got? How many people? Where's Thom at? But hey,
yeah. That was a bad job by me. I should have, because I knew that every Monday during the season, Saban humps the first 15 minutes of the show. And what we should have done, and this will be a standing thing, and I'll talk to our social media people. Anyway, what we should have done is we should have mentioned it ahead of time. The Thom Abraham Show will begin immediately after Nick Saban, and put that on the Twitter or the X or whatever it is. We should have put it, I'd say on Facebook, but apparently nobody sees our Facebook anymore. But we'll put it. We should put it on something.
I posted it on my Twitter right before your show, by the way.
On your Twitter, on the station's Twitter.
I tagged the station and I tagged you on it. So thanks for the look and the retweet. Before the show, it was like 15, 20 minutes before the show too.
Let me see notifications. Yeah. Okay.
I got your back. I got your back.
I see something about us.
We had Hugh Freeze at 11, so we got confused.
All I see I see a soccer mug.
No, I tagged you guys in the tweet.
Okay.
Here it is.
Brand new mug.
Yeah, that was right after, I think.
For the streams? What does that mean for the streams?
Yeah, because you have your mug. I got my mug for the streams.
What streams? What do you mean for the streams?
Our streams, our online streams.
Oh, you mean on the TV? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nick Saban game week press conference on 97.7 right before the Thom Abraham Show.
Boom.
Okay. Well,
1 hour ago.
Let me tell you what that indicates. Before the Thom Abraham Show would be 11:45. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's before the Thom Abraham Show. So really,
right before the Tom
show.
Abrahams show. Right before, though.
Well, no, it's actually but it's in the Thom Abraham show. It's not before the Thom Abraham. Thom Abraham show.
No, the Open started after.
Hey, Lynch, what time does the Thom Abraham show start, Lynch? Noon, right? So it's in the Thom Abraham show. Thom Abraham coming up right after Nick Saban. Yeah, at 12:15. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Lynch.
All right. Number 2. So the first time call. That guy right there was the first time caller talking about the Buckhorn band.
Oh, Mr. Sales, yeah.
You correct with that? Well,
yes.
Look here.
Yes. Should we give him a? Do you think he'll ever call again? Styles, Mr. Styles. Do you think he'll? It's a great name. Yeah, but that's you.
He probably won't when I get done.
But he says he listens to the show and he's a former player. So, what should we call Mr. Styles? Isn't he not the band leader? He's not the band leader there. Okay.
Look here. You let him. That was a good conversation, but you let him get angry. You hear me? You let him get his frustration out because to me, he said he played football. Well, boy, you don't sound like as a first-time caller, you're across the track talking about the band. Okay? Mm-hmm. You're talking about band and uniforms. And to start the day off, son, I was crying laughing over the whole conversation. And then you got this other guy, you're Buckhorn. Who cares? You still see. This is why you let this guy on, Tom. It's because he's probably Buckhorn sponsors the show.
Yeah,
and that's why y'all. I think that's why y'all just let all.
No. That's not true. Because he said I didn't know he was related to Buckhorn or played at Buckhorn until afterwards. For all I know, he could have been with any of the bands in the region, or he could have been with Madison County because I commented on both of them. So he was just from Buckhorn. But here's the thing: I'm going to let people. He has his right to his opinion. I'm going to let him rant. Let him go. I'm going to let him rant. He's a listener. I respect his opinion. So I'm gonna let him go. He's. Chris, what do you call the guy that does that has the staff? That comes out. That's the head of the band when the band comes out. The guy that does dancing. He comes out and he has the thing. What do they call it?
Clearly haven't gone to enough band competitions to know what to
What do they call it? I forget what they call it.
Leading the Ohio
The leader.
State.
Yeah, the guy that comes out leading the bands. When the bands come out and they got there's a word for them. I forget what majorettes. Are they the majors? Majors. He's the band. Major. So that's
band leaders.
Band major.
Yeah, Tom.
Band major. Yeah. Well, no, he's not a major because he's a dude. All right, so he would be band major Jody.
He's band
we'll
major.
Call him band major Jody.
You didn't go to too many.
No, how about leader of the band? Let's call him.
I just said band leaders.
No. It's a song, leader of the band. That doesn't have anything to do with band leaders. Leader of the band. You know that? You know the song, leader of the band.
I know the song.
You know the song, Lynch. Yeah.
I'm 53. I know the song.
Leader of the band. That's him. We'll call him leader of the
band. There's also that song. I'm going to close this out. You go back and look at Alabama's schedule last year. You look at the close losses and everything. But I'm going to tell you this. LSU going to leave the song right here. Since we won by a field goal, band on the run.
By the way, if you're LSU Lynch or anybody else that's interested in going to either the Alabama Tennessee or the Alabama LSU game, 2 games where the tide will go scorched earth.
Song in my life.
All right, I'm calling it the Alabama Crimson Tide Redemption Tour.
To my father,
you can win Bob Baumhauer's tickets.
There's no way I could
quantify the 2 biggest games of the season. The Tennessee game or the LSU game, courtesy of Baumhauer's and us at 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
He got to hear that
All you
song.
have to do is to head to Baumhauer's for a Thom Abraham Show remote every other Tuesday beginning tomorrow. Or go to an episode of The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton every other Thursday beginning last Thursday and register to win. Every week, go out there. You visit the Thom Abraham Show or you visit the Drive, and you get entered to win. The more you go, the better chance you have to win. You can only enter once a week, but you can enter every week. The week before the Tennessee game, we will pull a name out. that person will get tickets, Bob's tickets, to the Alabama-Tennessee game. And then everybody who has entered up until that point, your names will stay in the box. Keep coming to the show. You come to the show, you stick your entry in the box, and then the week before the LSU game, we'll pull another name. It's going to it's the redemption tour. You can go on out there and see Alabama kick butt on Tennessee and LSU on the redemption tour. But you need to come on out to the show to do that. All right, so tomorrow I'll be out at Baumhauer's noon to 2. Who's joining me? Come on out, hang out. Noon to 2 at Baumhauer's. We get a break. Come back with more. It's Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're starting to see more and more of them on the road in Huntsville, Madison, and North Alabama. And we've got them in stock, on the ground, ready for you to test drive. Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm talking about the all-electric Mustang Mach-E. Come experience the torque, exhilaration, and technology of our all-electric 2023 Mach-E, and you'll see why folks are leasing and buying them as fast as we can get them. And that's not to mention you may qualify for a $7,500 tax credit. Woody Anderson Ford is offering financing as low as 2.9% for 60 months, plus $3,000 in bonus cash on the 2023 Mustang Mach-E. Or you can lease one for $449 a month. And we've also got 23 Bronco Sports for $399 a month. These are 36-month leases with $5,271 on Mach-E, $3,709 on Bronco Sport due at signing. 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. These offers end September 4th. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Come on in today. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama. If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find him online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. High temperatures are expected to top out in the mid to upper 80s for the afternoon. Heading into your Monday night, a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still going to be possible. Otherwise, we'll sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 60s, lower 70s for some. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
New coordinators.
That's as good as money, sir.
New quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
Same coach.
And you all may be taking the week off, this week, but I'm not.
We are your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I was trying to do the same thing.
An only child alone and wild. Cabinet maker's
I was going to advance it to the chorus.
His hands were meant for different work, and his heart was known to none. He left his home and went his lone and solitary way, and he gave to me a gift I know I never can repay. Quiet man of music.
Believe me, eventually he'll get the leader of the band. Dan Fogelberg, leader of the band. Drum Major. Thank you, those of you that hit me in the text window and my Facebook page. Drum Major. That's what I was looking for. Drum Major Styles. That's what we should call him. Drum Major Styles. This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the fine people at North Alabama Mortgage in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. North Alabama Mortgage has you covered for all your mortgage needs. Get a home valuation, see what you can do by refinancing or buying new with North Alabama Mortgage team of experts in your corner. They treat you like family. They walk you through the entire process. They did it for me. They can do it for you. It's North Alabama Mortgage. Go to northalabamamortgage.com to learn more. I got a bunch of little notes I wanted to get in, and I didn't get any of them in, but let me get Grumpy in. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, man. Yeah, I'm glad that the drum major called in. It's good to hear from someone associated with the band. I think everybody loves the band. If you don't like the high school bands, there's something wrong with you, I think.
Love the bands. Love the bands.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I could do it over again, I would never play football. I never rode the bench. I started every game I was ever in. But walking with a limp after severing your ACL a couple of times, when you're done playing football, when you graduate high school, if you don't want to play in college, you're done. But if you're in the band and you learn an instrument, you can play that thing the rest of your life.
That's your life, yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay, real quick here, man. I'm looking for 4 tickets to the Moccasins game when Alabama plays Chattanooga, and the tickets are cheap. So if you were a person that wanted to see one game, because there's a 13-year-old, a friend of mine's kid wants to go to an Alabama game, so I told him I'd take him. So tickets are not expensive. So, good seats are $70 that game. So if you could sit anywhere in the stadium that a normal person could get access to, no one in the business, where would you sit in Bryant-Denny?
I would not sit. I would not sit in the lower bowl. I like a little height, so I would want to be in the bottom part of the upper deck, and you can take in the whole thing really good. And I'm an end zone kind of guy. I don't mind end zone seats because I like watching the way the plays develop in the end zone. But I think anywhere in the first several rows of the upper deck would be fantastic, and because you can kind of feel the whole stadium, you can see all of the scoreboards and video boards and everything. Yeah, and I would suggest that maybe you talk to Brandon because he's a season ticket holder, and I know he has 4 to the Arkansas game that he's looking to sell, and he's also got 2 to the Texas game that he's looking to sell. Just not outside of taking the kid. You or anybody else that's out there that's interested, let me know in the text window, and I will give you Brandon's information. He's got 2 in the Texas game and 4 to the Arkansas game that he's looking to sell. So.
Okay, well, shout out to the drum major. I hope he calls back later.
He actually did call back during this show, but you know the rule. That's the only rule I got, is that we generally don't put people on twice on the same show. All right, that's what we're going to go with. Drum Major Styles. We're going Drum Major Styles. That'll be his handle. Drum Major Jody. I like that. That's a better alliteration. Drum Major Jody. Hopefully he'll continue to call. Talk about bands. I love the band. All right, I'll save all this minutia for tomorrow's show. Remember, I am at Baumhauer's tomorrow, noon to 2, and you can register to win tickets to the Tennessee game by coming out and seeing me at Baumhauer's tomorrow. Paul Feinbaum is next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.